Hi there, Coastal Bend. Meteorologist Carly Smith here. We are breaking down your weather impact alert on this Wednesday, August 21st, 2024. What's the weather impact alert? Well, we are once again anticipating a forecast high in the triple digits for Corpus Christi. This will likely break the record. The current record is 100. The forecast is 103. And so this record heat, once again, can be very dangerous out there. So stay safe, y'all. We're going to break down everything you need to know in this live update. Make sure to post your questions, comments, or concerns. And here we go. Hey there, everyone. Thank you again for joining this live update. We've got a lot to talk about. It is heat. Heat is not uncommon here in the Coastal Bend, but this heat actually is pretty uncommon. This is extreme heat for even us down here in South Texas, and so it can become dangerous very easily. We unfortunately did see that yesterday with the child dying in the hot car, and that is just so unfortunate, but you've got to stay extra vigilant in these conditions. The heat can make it very easy to kind of just feel tired and exhausted, and your brain doesn't work as well in those conditions either. So you've got to stay vigilant, you've got to stay hydrated, and you've got to take breaks as needed and double check everything in these hot conditions. So here's a look at what we have going on. We hit a high of 102 yesterday in Corpus Christi. 75 was our low, so the average high is 95. We were well above that, the record high 100. That was set back in 1948. It was actually last reached last year. So it was hot last year. Remember, last year was the hottest summer on record. So we are not nearly as bad as we were last year, even though yesterday was hotter than we were last year. But in general, the summer has not been quite as hot, but we are dealing with an extreme period of heat right now. So here's a look at the high temperatures across the region yesterday. Kingsville got up to 106, Alice 104, Robstown 102, Sinton was 100, Ingleside got up to 104. Rockport 98 and Port Aransas at 92. So we did hit our 6th 100-degree day for the year. So we hit 2 in July. We've had 4 so far in August. Now normally we see an average of 4 triple-digit days in a year. Last year we saw 42 in a year. So I don't think we're going to catch that number, but we are adding to it, and we are likely going to add 2 more August dates to this list. And this will likely, today, the 21st, will likely be our 3rd triple-digit day in a row. We could potentially have 4 in a row, with Thursday also looking extra hot. Lots of sunshine, clear skies. We're seeing more sunshine today than yesterday. So I really anticipate that we're going to have hotter temperatures today than we saw yesterday, at least by a degree or so. I think we'll at least get up to 102, if not 103. It will be nice and hot. Now, something to note, we have a southwest wind right now. So that southwest wind is 10 miles an hour. It's going to shift out the southeast and then increase in speed there around 4 o'clock. And that's why I think 4 o'clock is actually, or between 2 and 4 is actually when we're going to see our hottest heat index value, because that's when we see the sea breeze shifting gears and picking up. And that's when our dew point or our humidity is going to go up, especially for near coastal counties, and that's when I anticipate the hottest heat index value. So you see by 4 p.m. that's when the wind is picking up. Our air temperature actually is going to lower a bit because our humidity goes up, but the feels like temperature will go higher. So 115 is that extreme criteria for an excessive heat warning, and we are likely going to get that. But in terms of our high temperature, air temperature, we're going 103 Corpus Christi, Robstown, Kingsville 105, Alice 106, George West 107, Freer 107, Port Aransas 103. So we're at least the same as yesterday, if not a few degrees higher in spots. So for those extreme high temperatures, we are once again under a weather impact alert. This is just through KIII, but the national, actually let's go through that whole graphic. Excessive heat, you need to take breaks, drink water. Now from noon through 8 p.m., that's when the National Weather Service has issued their excessive heat warning. So the combination of the excessive heat warning, the chance of hitting a heat index value at or above 115 for more than 2 hours, and then additionally an air temperature higher than 100, those are all criteria that we use to have with our brand that weather impact alert. And so we just want you to be extra alert that these temperatures are extra hot out there. And that's what that is for. So right now, it already feels like it's 102 in Corpus Christi, 107 in Ingleside. So it's starting to get hot, y'all. Ingleside up to 91, Alice at 91 already. For your hourly heat index, we're looking at, again, specifically for Corpus Christi, between 2 and 6 p.m., some of the hottest temperatures and the hottest heat index values. So that is when I've highlighted our weather impact alert. Now remember, the heat warning, the excessive heat warning, is from noon through 8 p.m. So you kind of book in 2 extra hours on either side of that for a little fluctuation here or there to slowly cool down after being so hot. But regardless, y'all, it is going to be a hot one, and I hope you are prepared to stay hydrated and take breaks if you do have to work in this heat. If you're athletic and you're trying to do athletic activities outside, if you have after-school sports, obviously there are UIL regulations. Schools have rules, but just encourage your kids not to push themselves too hard. Hopefully the coaches aren't doing that during this extreme heat, but yeah, it's hot, but there is hope in the forecast. We've got some hope, y'all. Here it is. So you see our peak heat index hottest today, and then there's a downhill slope as we head into the weekend and early next week. And so that does have to do with the strength and the exact position of this high. So one thing, hit the wrong button. So one thing I want to note is the high kind of centers itself over North Texas as we head into the weekend. It's going to bring easterly flow back in. Our humidity will go back up a bit. It won't be quite as dry in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and so our temperature should not get quite as extreme as what we are dealing with right now. Now, let's back up for a second. This positioning of the high that you see right here, this is where the high kind of parked itself almost all last summer. And that's why we were so extremely hot. But we're going to see this high shifting. We have a cold front or a trough that sets up over the eastern United States. At the bottom of that trough, you see this piece of energy break away, and then it's going to tap into the high as it's moving and move on the southern edge of that high right into South Texas. This week, little tropical wave or inverted low is going to give us a little bit of relief. It's going to help our temperatures stay not quite as extreme. It's going to break down the high pressure, at least temporarily, and it might even give us a chance for a few showers, but don't get too excited. Rainfall totals aren't looking like much. But it's that humidity that is still going to be an issue. Even with our heat index back around 110, that still doesn't allow our body to cool down efficiently. So if you are spending a lot of time outdoors, that's why you've got to stay hydrated, because you're going to keep sweating because your body thinks it needs to cool down. So then you're losing water, you're losing your electrolytes. You've got to refuel and replenish because you're sweating aggressively, essentially, because your body wants to cool down, but the sweat is not evaporating, so you're not cooling down, and that's where the heat index temperature comes into play, what it actually feels like. Something else to consider, so wet bulb globe temperature is what a lot of the schools and UIL is suggesting they use to kind of regulate what takes place outdoors. Now, each of these levels have different criteria for different sports. Specifically, football has different criteria than things like cross country, but overall, less than 82 for the wet bulb temperature. This is a temperature, it reminds me more of kind of like the dew point with all of this factored in, but essentially it factors the temperature, humidity, wind, sun angle, and cloud coverage to determine heat stress. So it's not an air temperature, it's not a feels like temperature, it's a number used to determine heat stress. And it is in degrees Fahrenheit, but at 82, that's determined fairly safe to do outdoor practices. Still should have water breaks, so forth, but between 82 and 86.9, that is caution. Moderate conditions, 87 to 90, that requires a lot more extra breaks, some padding limitations for football, high risk. limits how long you can be outside and how many breaks have to be given. And then too dangerous, indoor practice only at 92.1. And there's a chance we're up near 92.1. We're definitely going to be at the high risk today. So looking at the wet bulb forecast, anywhere between noon and 4 p.m. there is a chance we get into the too dangerous level, but the high risk is definitely going to be there. So schools are going to be keeping a close eye on that. Now, a few reminders. Yes, definitely. That's in this reminder too, Madeline. Horrible news that we learned of yesterday. But you've got to drink water, stay hydrated, apply sunscreen if you do have to be outdoors, light-colored, loose-fitting clothing, wear a hat, limit the strenuous activity between noon and 8 p.m. That's when our warning, the National Weather Service has the excessive heat warning in place. Check on your neighbors. If anyone loses AC or happens to lose power in these conditions, that can turn really dangerous really fast. Similar to the way a car increases in heat, the house can increase in heat. We have more insulation in our homes to prevent it from increasing rapidly, but the cars, they don't have the insulation that our homes have. They do have windows though, and so essentially your car works a lot like a greenhouse where heat is able to get in, but it's not able to escape. And so that's what allows it to just heat up so fast. So yeah, triple check the back seat, 10 minutes when it's just 80 degrees outside, it feels like it's 99 back there. But we're talking triple digit temperatures this afternoon. So 119 is what it's going to feel like in just 10 minutes inside the car. 134 in 30 minutes. So, you think it's a quick trip into the gas station or the grocery store. The line ends up being longer than you anticipated. That 10-minute run or that 5-minute run inside could easily accidentally turn into 30 minutes and you don't even realize it. And then it's 134 degrees in your car. This is kids, this is pets, this is elderly. No one should be left sitting inside a car in these conditions. An hour, it gets up to 143 degrees, so extremely dangerous. Not to mention also paws get really hot at 95. The concrete is 140, so concrete, don't have your kids running around barefoot on the concrete either. Asphalt gets up to 155 at 95 degrees, so even at more extreme numbers at 100 degrees. So finally, again, our weather impact alert is for Wednesday and Thursday. We should be back below 100, which is still hot. It's still hot when we're not in this weather impact alert. It's just not excessively or aggressively hot, abnormally hot, right? But it's still hot. You still need to practice all of those heat safety tips, triple checking your cars and so forth. The difference between 95 and 100, very minimal, but at least it's a little bit of relief. So that's all I have for y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone stays safe out there, stay cool, stay hydrated, and have a wonderful Wednesday.